Hello again. Let's have a look at question number 11 as well for today. So it says, I've got another triangle which has vertices P, Q, and R, and it's giving me the coordinates for each of these points. I do like to draw a quick sketch to help me. So I'm going to say this is P, this is Q, and this is R. Notice it's not saying anything about right angles or anything. So I'm just going to do it some sort of random triangle thing. Okay, so I'm going to annotate these. So -3, -6. For Q, I've got 1, 4. And for R, you've got 5, -2. So I've annotated the first bit here on my sketch. Now I've got that M is the midpoint of PQ, so I add that onto my diagram, and N is the midpoint of QR, and I add that on my diagram as well. I have to prove that MN, so this line here, is parallel to PR, so the line at the base of the triangle. We must show each stage of our working out. So I'm going to use the fact that the gradients of parallel lines are equal. This is the property I'm going to be using. So I'm going to work out the gradient of PR and the gradient of MN, and I'm going to hopefully get exactly the same answer for both. And that's going to help me show that they're parallel. So let's make a start. We remember that the formula for gradient is change in y over change in x, or difference in y over difference in x. If you want a formula, you can quickly write down. It goes a little something like this. Here you go at the top of the page. And this is what I'm going to use. So I'm going to do the gradient of PR here. So I'm subtracting y coordinates, and I'm going to do the coordinates of P take away the coordinates of R in that order. So I'm doing y's first at the top. So I'm doing -6 minus -2. And now I'm doing my x's. So it's -3 minus 5. So I'm going to try to simplify that here. So -6 plus 2 is -4. -3 minus 5 is -8. And if I simplify that to get a nice straightforward answer, that is just equal to +1/2. So I know I'm expecting the gradient of MN to also be 1/2 because it says prove that they're parallel. That means they have to be parallel. I have to get the same answer. Fabulous. So let's work out the coordinates for points M and point N. And hopefully you guys know that to work out a midpoint, you add the x coordinates and divide it by 2 to work out the x coordinate, and you do the same thing to the y coordinates of 2 points on that line to work out the y coordinate. So I'm going to try to work out now the coordinates of M. So the midpoint of PQ, also known as M, is equal to, so I'm adding the x coordinates of P and Q. So I'm doing -3 plus 1 over 2, that's the x coordinate, and then the y coordinate -6 plus 4 over 2. Now let me simplify that. So -3 plus 1 is -2, -2 over 2 is -1, if my calculations are correct. And then I've got -6 plus 4 for the y coordinate, and that's -2. -2 divided by 2 is -1. So I've got the coordinates of M, which are -1, -1, -1, -1 there. I'm going to go through the same process for point N. So I'm calling it the midpoint of QR, which is also known as N. And I do the same thing. So I add my x coordinates for Q and for R. So I've got 1 plus 5 and half that. And then for y coordinates, I've got 4 plus -2 and I do that. All right, so 5 plus 1 is 6. 6 divided by 2 is 3. And then I've got 4 plus minus 2, which is 2. 2 divided by 2 is 1, positive 1. So this means that the coordinates of n are 3, 1. Now let's work out the gradient of mn. So the gradient of mn is equal to, we go back to this formula at the top. So difference in y over difference in x, or change in y over change in x. What should we do? Should we do n take away m? So I'm going to start with 1. So I'm doing y, remember difference in y over difference in x. So I'm doing 1 minus minus 1, and that's the y coordinates. And then I am doing x, which is 3 minus minus 1 again. So remember, 1 minus from the formula, 1 minus from my numbers. Let's simplify this. So 1 minus minus 1 is 2. 3 minus minus 1 is 4. All of this simplifies to a half. So we've got 2 gradients here that we need. They're both equal to a half, which we knew was going to happen. We had to get that. So gradients of mn and PR are both equal to a half. Therefore, the lines are parallel. There you go. Done. See you later.